This is one of the best sounding plexis we've ever played. It's my favorite plexi I've ever plugged into. It's a Marshall 1959 Super Lead modified series. They finally did the thing that Bogner and Friedman and all these companies do with the plexi, and I think they did it maybe the best. We wanted to see what it would sound like if we took the Agoura Plexi model in the Stadium and tone matched it to this thing. It was an experiment, and I'm gonna tell you, it blew us away. So we present to you the tone matched Marshall 1959 mod preset pack for Stadium. So like I said, this is the best sounding plexi I've ever plugged into. Marshall released these, I think they showcased them at NAMM January 2025. And they won all kinds of awards. Everyone that has ever played one of these loves it. I love watching that pedal show. Dan and Mick, they plugged into it, and immediately they were like, Mick was like, I have to buy this. It's the best Plexi ever. And for good reason. It's got all these clipping options. So in the bright channel, and in the jumped channel option, you can put the bright cap mod in, and it makes the amp way less gain and much more warm and lush. So your low gain tones have all this warmth and character, and you have a lot more headroom. There's less gain in the amp. So then you've got these clipping options that give you more gain in certain situations. So this amp really is super, super versatile. The warm channel is warm, but not dull. The bright channel with the bright cap mod is really lush and not like thin and taking your head off. And then when you just crank it, it's classic Marshall Plexi. So like I said, we were curious what it would sound like if we tone matched it to the Agoura Plexi model, and we were shocked how good it sounded. So the way we did it is we tone matched it to this amp through 4 different cabinets. So if you pick up this pack for Stadium, you're going to get 4 tone matched IRs. The 4 cabinets are the Marshall Super 100 1982B JH, that's Jimi Hendrix cab. It's the cab that came with that Super 100. That has Celestion G12Cs in it, which are meant to replicate the worn-in greenbacks in Jimi Hendrix's actual cab that they sort of voiced it after. So those are that's the JH cab option. Then Bradford and I's favorite cab with this amp is a vintage 1976 Marshall 1960A. That's the slant 412 cab with the original Celestion blackbacks. Those speakers in that cab are just magic with pretty much anything we put in it. It really sounds good with this amp, with these presets. It's got a lot of clarity in the low end, and a lot of articulation in it. So it still sounds big and full like a 412, but it's pretty special. That's our favorite, the M76. Then there's the BGN IR option. That's a Bogner 412 with vintage 30s. So if you like something a bit more aggressive, it's actually really similar to the M76, but has a little different character in the mid-range. Finally, we tone matched it through a matchless 212 cab with mismatched Scumbag G12H and G12M speakers. It's meant to replicate the mismatched thing that Matchless did with a DC-30 back in the late 90s. And it sounds really cool with this amp. It gives it a very different mid-range character. It's almost like a little more voxy, chimey kind of a thing with the Plexi. It's awesome, and it's actually really cool if you run them run one cab left and a different cab on the right, kind of get some stereo separation. So you get those 4 options. So the way we design the presets is all you have to do is just cycle through those IRs. So import the IRs into Stadium first, then import the presets, and then you can just mix and match IRs. It's designed so you don't need to adjust any of the settings in the presets to kind of replicate plugging into different cabs, which is what cab IRs are meant to do. So let's talk about the presets you get. You get 2 sets of presets with different signal flow in each. So the A preset is sort of the way Bradford and I would run this live. If you're a church player, this might be what you want to do. It's 2 instances of the amp block. Again, this is using the Agoura Plexi amp block set clean. And then all of your stereo effects run into the amp. So it kind of replicates running a huge stereo pedal board into 2 of these amps, which would be a quite an expensive and hard to move around setup if you had it in real life. And the amps, like I said, are set clean. I think it's to the jumper to channel. What we modeled that on is this amp with that bright cap mod in. So the amp is much more warm and lush. The way we sort of replicated it with the Agoura model is if you bring the master volume down, so this is a non-master volume amp originally. This one's modded. It does have a master volume. But like a Plexi, 100 watt super lead does not have a master volume. And so if you pull the master back in the amp block, it sort of mods the amp in a way that makes it open up a little more a lot more warmth at lower gain sounds. That's how we replicated that setting. So you get single coil and humbucker options for both of these sets of presets. Then you get what we call the B preset. So the B preset uses a single Agoura amp block, and then there's a button that changes a whole bunch of parameters in the amp block. So you're gonna go from the bright channel set clean, you hit the button, the amp gain button, and it's also mapped to snapshots, and it switches to the jumper channel and gains it up. So it's sort of like hot rodded, you know, Marshall, like a rhythm tone kind of a thing. And then it's got different effects going into it, and then all of the stereo effects come after the amp block in that preset. So two different ways to run this Plexi via these presets. So this is our first experiment with tone matching an amp in the Stadium. Now when Proxy comes along, we will be capturing this amp and building presets around those captures, but we don't have that yet. So we wanted to be able to experience this amp in Stadium right now. So if you grab this link below, you can have this amp in your Stadium, essentially is how it sounds. And you get it through 4 different cabs. And of course you can also pull in different IRs and use it with any IR that you would like. But the IRs we made sort of voice the amp block to sound more like this thing. It's really pretty special. You should try it out. Links below where you can grab that. We have a lot more stuff for Stadium over at signaltheoryaudio.com, including a handful of free presets, and we'll have more free stuff coming for this. And of course, a ton of content, captures, and presets coming for Stadium in the future. We have like 100 amps here, so we got to capture them all when Proxy comes along. But we're going to continue to experiment with tone matching in Stadium as well. Like this one impressed us. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.